All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is November 14th, 2023. This is episode 6 for 2023. And today we are going to be exploring trait 43. We're going to take a look at breakthrough. And we're specifically going to take a look at breakthrough in efficiency. We're going to take a look at the genius to freak. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. And before we introduce our panel, again, if you are new, I recommend downloading your chart. You can go to the BG5businessinstitute.com. You can get your free chart and take a look if you have 43 in your design. It's right up here in conceptualization. So would love to have you join us. So with that, let's say hello to our panel. And let's start with Banu. Hello, Banu, welcome.
Hello, great to be here. I'm very excited for this episode because I do have the 43-23 and it's also part of my life work. So very excited to be part of this discussion. Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome. Great to have you, Banu. And let's go to Natalie. Hello, Natalie. Welcome.
Yay. Happy to be here. Don't have anything of this, so I'm observing the brilliant breakthrough insights light years ahead of Banu today.
Beautiful. Welcome, Natalie. And let's go to Shelly. Hello, Shelly. Welcome.
Hello. Great to be here. And yeah, like Natalie, I don't have this, but I seem to be surrounded by people in my family and my life who have either one of the traits, either 43 or 23, or the full strength. So I've seen this in action many times. It's amazing to be part of and to watch.
Excellent. Well, welcome, Shelly. And let's go to Boris. Hello, Boris. Welcome.
Hey, Karen. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good day. Yeah, I have actually the 23 on the opposite side. So I'm curious what 43 brings and what I can learn from Banu as the strength, or what it does to get more into the depth of the 43, which is not part of my design. Yes.
Beautiful. Welcome, Boris. Great to have you here. And let's go to Chris.
Hello, and I'm glad to be here. And I don't have the 43. I also do not have the 23 today. So not only am I observing, but I do notice that I have an evaluator and advisors around me that do actually have this. So I'm excited today. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, beautiful. Great. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for being here. And my name is Karen Sherwood, and welcome to all of you. I do have the 43, so I too am excited for the discussion for today. So let's dive in. So today's theme, again, is taking a look at trait 43, breakthrough. This is a breakthrough in efficiency. This is the genius to freak. So if we take a look at the life work themes, and this is one of Banu's, Banu has this life work theme. We have explanation, we have insight, we also have dedication. And one of the things about trait 43 is it is all about purpose fulfilled through transformation. So you can see even in the word breakthrough or having a breakthrough insight, there is an element of transformation that really is a part of your life work, if this is part of your life work theme. Now, when we take a look at trait 43, this is breakthrough, this is insight. In order for achievement to be maintained, a new order must be fairly established. And I don't know about you, but I can feel like something is shifting, something is changing. It may feel like you've been exhausted. It may feel like you've gotten ill or sick, or things are just not clicking. It feels almost like this collective holding of our breath, wondering what's happening next. And so we're waiting for that breakthrough. And one of the things about the 23, as well as what grounds it on the other side, is so not only the 43, but the 23 on the other side is assimilation. This is splitting apart. It's almost like this, with this breakthrough, it's splitting things apart and then putting things back together in a way that makes sense. This is amorality. This is the awareness and understanding which leads to the acceptance of diversity. So again, we may feel like what's happening, and it may feel like these are both individual traits and it's an individual strength. So it can feel like nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, nothing's happening, until boom, all of a sudden something happens and things start to make sense. And one of the key things for the 43 is also being able to not only have that breakthrough insight, but also being able to communicate it, also being able to explain it as well. Now, there is a lot of pressure here to make sense of things. Yesterday, which was the new moon, we can see that the moon was also activated in trait 43. Not only that, we have the maturing energy in trait 43, and we have unusualness in trait 23. So you can see that there is a lot of pressure, and this strength is activated multiple times. So this is a major theme for this week, as we have breakthroughs in our maturing energy, our driving force, and our core essence. And it's really grounded in things that are unusual and unique by assimilating and expressing things in new ways. So it does bring forth transformation. It does bring forth a new way of thinking about things, but also being able to communicate about them. So again, if you have felt that pressure to make sense of things, or if you have felt that pressure that you don't know, you don't know, you don't know, maybe suddenly you know, or maybe you don't know. This, like I said, is activated multiple times. So we may be feeling that pressure. So with that, let's take a look at what the trait 43, this breakthrough and efficiency, is when we take a look at business. So this again is about unique insights. It's unique insights that can create a new direction for a business to make it more efficient. Even in the OC16 and in the larger businesses, this is about coming up with something new, but being able to put it together in a way that makes things more efficient, that can then be communicated to create a new direction for an organization or a business. This is also the genius to freak, where timing is everything. If you communicate your breakthrough insight at the wrong time, you can be seen as a freak. When you listen to where people are open for change and you follow your decision-making strategy in sharing and explaining your breakthrough insight, you can be seen as a genius. This is one of the things that's interesting about trait 43, especially when we have it in the core essence. We have the 23, which makes up the strength on the other side. And so this is the strength of the genius to freak. Again, timing is everything. And this also, with these insights, they need to be recognized and invited. So insights must first be invited by others to bring the possibility of a new perception or a new perspective out into the world. So again, if you share your unique insight, the timing is not correct, and you have not been invited, you will often be seen as a freak. That can also lead to rejection. When you are recognized, when you are invited, when the timing is correct, again, you can be seen as a genius. This is also one of the traits of deafness. You are not designed, especially if you have trait 43, you're not designed to be influenced by others. This is listening in the inner ear. And this can also be the fear of rejection, especially if you can't explain your awareness rationally. You can also experience mental anxiety that your ideas are too weird or that other people won't quite understand. So this is one of the fears that's also associated, and a mental anxiety that is associated with trait 43. So it does take fortitude to stand and explain insights that may seem freakish and completely out of the norm. And again, when the timing is right and unique insight is recognized, it can be experienced as genius. So, with all of that, again, if you are here live in our Zoom room, after we hear from each of the individuals on our panel, we would also love to hear from you, especially if you do have trait 43 or you have experiences with others who have trait 43. And speaking of trait 43 and the 4323, this strength of efficiency, we're going to start with Banu. So, Banu has this strength. Not only does she have this strength, it is also part of your life work theme. So we would love to hear about your experience, Banu, in having trait 43 as well as 23 and the strength of efficiency and this trait 43 of breakthrough.
Thank you. So it's an important one for me. I do have the 43 defined in me twice, one unconscious and conscious as well. And I think the word actually, let me start with the efficiency part. Efficiency is the thing that I unconsciously, I think, stress the most. Like, how can we do things more efficiently? How could I, even if I'm going to walk to pick up water from the kitchen and I needed to run 3 more errands, I'm always thinking, okay, which one do I do? Can I do them in the same order so I can do it more efficiently? So this is something big for me, being able to do things efficiently all the time, pretty quickly, more practically, is my thing for sure. I also want to speak to the freak and the waiting for that insight to be delivered to those around you. And me being an advisor, I have to wait on a lot of things, and having that recognition and invitation. And I think when I was younger, this is what I didn't know. And that's why I think we talk about the freak, and I've been the freak, especially in meetings, just jumping ahead. Here is what we should do. Everybody's looking at me like, are you crazy or what? But then passes 2 weeks and they're like, okay, yeah, maybe we'll consider what you said. So like, well, thank you, I knew it. But when you first say it, it's not really accepted. And I had to learn, thank God I found BG5, which taught me I should wait around. So instead of being the freak, I can be the genius. So that's really helped me. And then having the 23 and with assimilation, I think it just helps you, because you have these ideas, things come to me there. People don't think about these things, but I can always find some solutions that make things more efficient, probably before anybody thought about them. And then having the 23, I can kind of put it into words. So like easier, more simple things, so people will understand what I actually mean. So that has really helped me a lot. And that being in the communication and action as well, you can really put it into a simplified form, and I would speak, I know. So that's how it's communicated. So I think it kind of also builds this trust with people as well, that this freakish looking thing that I'm telling you about, but I know. So I seem like maybe it's like an authority or somebody who knows what they're talking about. So people will take the leap of faith with me. And in business, especially me being a salesperson for a long time, it's really helped in that sense, because you can convince people to walk along with you, because they also believe in it. Yeah, so I'll follow through with more examples, but I'll let others speak as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Banu. And it is one of those things that you can almost see light years ahead of everyone else. And it takes a little while for people to catch up with your ideas. And I love your example of being able to share something and people like, huh, what? And then 2 weeks later, they're like, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. So this is really, again, that the timing is so important. I have the 43, but I don't have the 23. And that always is a challenge for me, especially in that insecurity that my ideas may be too weird or too different. And I notice myself sometimes stumbling over my words because I can hear it in my inner ear, yet I don't know quite how to put it into words. And that's part of not having the 43, but not having the 23, struggling in being able to communicate what I can see. or what I can, what I can hear, or the pieces that seem totally out there, and how do I put it in a way or communicate it in a way that other people can understand. So I can definitely relate to that as well. So now, Boris, you have the 23 on the other side, but you don't have the 43. So you have the harmonic trait, but you don't have the 43. So I'm curious how the 43 shows up for you in having the 23.
I was just thinking about 23 and then what Banu as well mentioned. I realized for myself with the 23, it's this deep inner knowing that where Banu said, I know, I have the same. I know things. It's just then to find the right point in time to talk about it. And I had now so many times where I observed myself that I wanted to say something and there was no time yet to speak, or I didn't want to interrupt the discussion that was going on and things like that. And I want. And I waited. I literally waited. I forced myself to wait until at the end of the meeting, somebody asked me, Boris, you were so quiet the last hour or so. Do you want to mention something? And then I was speaking, and then was the invitation. It was the right point in time. And then it hit the mark. It was like just the right time. I think this is what I learned for myself, that I can explain details. I have new ideas and thoughts. It's just that there is a point in time that comes that I get or I don't get. If I don't get it, yeah, bad luck. But if I get it, then it's the time to speak. Don't force it. I cannot force it. And this is what I realized for myself, what the 23 is. And it's just funny with the transit now, with the 43, I have this kind of efficiency feeling. How can I structure things differently in a different way suddenly that just makes sense? And it's this 43 popped up in my transit chart. I was like, okay, this is where it comes from. It feels like easier. It feels it's moving, and I can't explain it. It just happens. And this is where I'm always surprised with my own design and the transits and whatever happens. And my cycle chart said, oh yeah, this is where it comes from. This is why, yeah, I find it so speaking, because it does something. It does something to me. And yeah, that's how I felt it at the moment.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to recognize, and it's one of the things that you may also find comes up in conversation as well. It's really interesting. I was working with a client yesterday, and the whole thing that they were talking about is how to make the business more efficient, and I just had to giggle because that's exactly what is present right now. Yeah, thank you so much, Boris, and let's go to Shelley.
That's so awesome to hear each of your different experiences with this. And what I'm recognizing is I was looking at the date that your chart that you just showed us was from yesterday at about 9:30 in the morning, I guess. And I literally spent most of the last week or so churning through, trying to make sense, trying to get this insight. And it just hit me in the evening last night. It was like, oh, that's it. Okay. And then you look at the chart and realize that the 4323 is present there. Like Boris said, it makes it easier for it to come through. It just happens. And you can't really make it happen. And I found myself just saying, just relax. I can feel there's something there, but just let go and let it come. And then it did just come in one big packet as an insight. And so the thing that really, my experience with this is, like I said, I'm surrounded by people who have this strength and these traits. In my family, my husband has the 4323. So do one of my brothers and one of my sisters. And everything that they do is about being more efficient, especially my sister, who it's in her life work like Banu's. And so I've learned a lot from her. And I found myself growing up, always, Banu, when you mentioned that if you were going to the kitchen for something, you do 3 things along the way. Oh my gosh, my mom used to tell me that all the time. if you're going downstairs, take this, that, and that with you too. So when we don't have this trait or strength ourselves, it's not like we never have it. We just have it inconsistently. We have it when we're around people who've got it and they're training us, educating, conditioning us, and conditioning can be good things, as well as some things you might want to let go of. But I recognized as I started to pull apart my own design and learn about this is that, oh, wait a minute, I really learned from other people around me how to be efficient, but it stresses me out to try to be efficient. I get exhausted trying to figure out how to make things more efficient. I did it for 25 years in the systems world, and it took a lot of energy for me to do it. So understanding how it works, how we have all of the traits at some point in time, either through the transits or because we're with other people, we're either learning from them or we have them temporarily and then they disappear. But trying to force ourselves to be efficient when we don't have that natural, consistent energy to do that. It's about, again, building awareness. You have it while you have it, utilize it while you have it, and then don't worry about it. Let it go when it's gone, and fall back into your own strengths or whatever other new trait or strength might be present in the transit. So I think, thank goodness for having BG5 and this insight to be able to actually understand what's going on and to learn how to manage your energy appropriately without burning yourself out, was really the biggest lesson I've learned through all of this. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really beautifully said, Shelley. And again, there are things that are consistent and reliable within our design. Our design is what we can truly count on. And as we go through transits, as we connect with others, there are different strengths and traits that we don't have per se, yet we can, quote unquote, take advantage of them, or they can condition us both in positive and negative ways. And so the more awareness that we have of what we have and what is a part of the program, what is the part of our connection with someone else, we can start to recognize really what is true to us and what is true to the other, so that we can always continue to follow our decision-making strategy and do what is absolutely correct for us. Yeah, beautifully shared, Shelley. Thank you so much. And let's go to Chris.
Awesome, thanks. I was just thinking about what everyone's saying, and I realized that my brother has the strength of efficiency. So I think I want to start here and just say, one of the things about him is that there is this fear of rejection that's there with the 43. And my brother has developed this, he doesn't listen to other people when he's got his own insights going. So there is this constantly listen, like he looks like he's listening, but he's really not listening because he's hearing inside his own head, like how things should be working out, how things need to be more efficient. And so there is that. And I do notice that this tends to be a trait where it's maybe associated with entrepreneurs. And why I say that is because as I was doing research for this, I realized that one of the people who has this trait is Steve Jobs. And, Steve Jobs is somebody who's known for breakthrough thinking in business. And when I looked at my chart in relationship to Steve Jobs, we both have the 61, which is at the beginning or the top of the body graph. And that is the principles of inner knowing. So it starts there and it trickles down through the 24 to the 43. And so he has the 61 looking at those inner principles. And then he translates it through breakthrough thinking. I thought, what a really great example of that. And, he's able to have these efficient insights that are applied to real life circumstances. So, how we use our phone and how we can navigate the technology. I thought that was really an interesting idea because at its core, it's about juxtaposing and connecting ideas. So there is the synthesis process that takes place from those inner principles that goes down from rationalization and kind of comes together. But the thing I've noticed in my own work is I've worked with a lot of people in think tanks. And this is another area I feel that the 43 really excels in. And just watching them have these breakthrough ideas in the energy of other people, it's just amazing. I facilitated community forums where there were people who came together with the politicians to talk about what's not going well. And there's always that one person who will stand up and have that that idea that's way ahead of its time. And this is what I think of as well when I think of the 43. So they are really putting together all this information. They are ahead of their time. And it's just really great to see in action because they, it's like, oh, there's a vision there, but it's not a vision like you would normally think of in business. It's actually kind of a putting together of pieces in a way that we've never seen before. So that's how I've seen it play out, not only with my brother, not only in think tanks, but also when I look at other business leaders in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, beautifully shared, Chris, and what a great example as well. Thank you so much. And let's go to Natalie.
Yeah, can you pull up Banu's chart? I'm not going to share about you, Banu, but so my partner actually is a mental advisor, and he has the exact same strengths as Banu in her head, right? So he has the 43-23 and the 64-47. And he told me one story that someone close to him once told him he's like a giraffe. So a giraffe has a very long neck, and this is also about mental advisor, but I think it's really interesting. So he's kind of in his own process, right? The head is up here, but to connect back to the world, it's quite a route, right? So sometimes he's really in his giraffe process, and you see him like it's like you see his inner world in his eyes, right? He's just processing, and we have the most interesting conversations, and for him to formulate really his breakthrough insights, because sometimes once he starts talking, I'm just silent and just waiting for it to come, right? Because the things that come out of his mouth, it's just brilliant. It's really about the world, or how humanity operates, or he's really like, yeah. And he's Cuban, so it's also the society in Cuba is really people are very, very conditioned by the system, and are also wounded kind of psychologically. Everyone with the similar themes, and that's really what occupies his mind. How we can help the Cuban community here in the Netherlands, and then so I'm also have a heart for my Cuban community, and so together we can have the most amazing insights about how to do this. And I loved this. I'm going to show him this this image. This is literally his kind of his what you see in his face, like he's really like out there in there, and then bling. I was just laughing when I saw this image, but yeah, so he like Banu, you can really see him create a whole new direction, like literally, like it's a quantum leap, if whatever it is. So what Chris also shared, the people that are sharing this in all of the sudden in a big meeting, or in a brainstorm session, and then this one idea, it can feed the organization or the team for years, so to say. It really is a new way forward, and so these breakthrough insights, and it's amazing if you see the energy, what you shared at the beginning, like it's not just in our core essence, grounding and balance right now, but it is all over the place. And also what you shared about the pressure, I feel it. It's like, it's like I hardly can breathe, because it's like pushing to get to this breakthrough, to get to the other side, to get to this new world. Like it's really, we're on the top of the mountain, right, on our skis, and it's like, and we're still like, oh, not yet, but it's like, yeah, you just wants to go down and get out there in the world. So yeah, so I'm really, really enjoying just, watching this process in him just unfold. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And it's
Wow.
also in his life work. So, but then unconscious. So he sometimes, yeah, it's so funny. Sometimes he hardly believes that he has real things to share, right? That it is valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing example, Natalie. Thank you so much. And all of the different pieces and both kind of seeing that breakthrough, and also how it's affecting us each personally as well, with that wanting to move forward, but it's not really there yet. Again, that it's not there. You don't know, you don't know until suddenly you know, and having those breakthrough insights. And Lorraine, you have the 43. I would love to hear from you, Lorraine.
Hello, everybody. What a yummy, yummy conversation this is. I did notice bits and pieces of everybody's share here just always resonate with me. Yesterday, the efficiency was turned on high gear on just regular life, right? To how you organize the utensils in the dishwasher, to all these things. But I naturally have always had that kind of inner voice. And like Banu and most of our colleagues here have been sharing, as a younger girl, I was always labeled eccentric, right? For my weird ideas or for my weird creativeness. I always created things and worlds and tried to express them in different ways, because sometimes it didn't come out of my mouth the way I wanted to express an idea of something that I saw. So it showed up for me in very individual creative ways, like playing with forms or creating worlds out of clays and just finding new ways and to express what my inner voice is on what I'm seeing, how I'm conceptualizing my experiences, which I think is beautiful because it's also a very much internal process. After studying and recognizing BG5, the recognition and the invitation just changed my whole perspective on being eccentric, right? I think my whole life I've been told I'm eccentric or different, or my ideas are way out there, or like, and I'm also an initiator. So it was always like, slow down, wait a minute, you're going too fast. But I always had this need to want to create. The deafness part is interesting because it is a very personal process. It's a personal process that for me, because I am the holder of the 1222, relies on my moods, on how I am ready to express that. So sometimes there is this deafness within me, or in taking in the conceptualizing experience that I have until that kind of works through its process, right? And then I'm able to express it. But I have found that most of the people that I connect with have the 23. And I always find that so interesting that when I'm working with a client or I'm working with somebody, I look at their design and most of the time they have the 23. So in consulting as a BG5 specialist, it just flows out of me when they recognize my talent for guiding in this way. I also love that 6447, which really helps me break down different patterns and different historical contexts from the interaction that I have with the other, and being able to offer real practical solutions for them that make sense in the now. So these things I have found that are very much great assets, but do need the recognition and the time. And that is something that is so seductive for an individual to understand, because every single person has their own rhythm and time. And if you allow yourself the grace to really lean into learning what your timing is and being aware of your surroundings, on how you conceptualize when it is ripe for you to share your amazing, innovative, efficient ways of doing things, then that's the stroke of genius that comes out. And I really enjoy when other people see it before I even see it. That sometimes makes it even more fun. When somebody says, hey, I recognize you're just so great at this efficiency thing. And I'm like, oh, this thing that I always kind of do on my own, because I'm always just putzing around with different ideas. And then it becomes something even revelatory for myself. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that that little thing, that quirk that I do is efficient for somebody else's process. So there is so much beauty to that 43. There is that kind of fear of rejection, especially if you are not self and coming from a real early deconditioning process, because being labeled as a freak in society is never a healthy thing. But being a trailblazer, I didn't come here to do the norm. I didn't come here to be like everybody else. And so recognizing the invitation for those opportunities to speak my opinions is always now done with so much more intention and grace. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for the opportunity.
Yes, beautifully said, Lorraine. Thank you so much. And again, we can hear that. I love what you said about the the freak. We typically don't want to be labeled the freak, but we are moving into the era of the individual, where it really is our uniqueness and our difference that really stands out and also makes a difference as well. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lorraine. And anything that anyone would like to add, if there's anyone else in our Zoom room that has the 43, would love to hear from you. Also, I know, Banu, there was a couple other things that you wanted to share as well. If you want to start us off with that. And again, if there's anyone else who has the 43 or has the 43-23, the strength of efficiency, we would love to hear from you. Do you like to start, Banu?
Yeah.
And add it. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's another example. So my partner also has the 43-23, and we are both checking out the corporate world now and going into doing our own thing. And we also both have the same life work team as well. So we're thinking of starting a new business, and we come up with these ideas. And we can just complement each other. So it's like, here's something we can do. Here's what we can do. Here's another thing that we can do. So we're like, we have all these things. And because we both have the 43 and the 23, we can actually put it into words. So we can simplify it. We can come up with that idea, simplify it. We're like, yes. And then we ended up coming up with a startup idea. Our alignment key, which is our consultancy firm that we came up with, and then doing something with the businesses. So there's so much, but they're so light years ahead. Right now, we both sat down, we wrote them down. They're great. When we speak to people, the ideas are great. But then we're like, okay, we need a team, because if we don't establish and put together some team to be able to put that vision and all these things that we're thinking about light years ahead maybe into place, it's never going to happen. So having the 43-23 is great, but then somebody actually has to go and make it happen. So that's the part that needs to be actually established. Yes. So there needs to be that, recognition, invitation. You get the ideas, you put it into words, but then to bring it into form, it takes something else.
Yes.
So I think that's the great part of the BG5 as well. Knowing what you're here to do, and also knowing what you're not here to do, what you have to give to others, where you should get help. So in the end, like I was coming up and I'm like, especially me being the advisor, I'm like, I need a team. If we're going to do all these things, I need a team, right? So like, okay, yes, we need a team. So all these things are important. Just having ideas doesn't mean you can really make them come through in the business world. So I just wanted to give that as an example, how BG5 is so great in showing also how things can and maybe cannot happen in the business life, and all the parts that everybody needs to play to make something come through.
Yeah, what a beautiful example, Banu, because the information that comes from the mind is great information, but it's not about acting and it's not about doing. And just like you said, Banu, especially in being an advisor, you can have this great idea, but you also need the energy behind it in order to get the doing done, if you will.
Exactly. Exactly. And then I know once we actually scrub the ideas, have our team put something into fruition, and it's actually going to become through, I also know that I will be able to make it more efficient. The more we work on it, the more efficient it's going to get. That part, I'm sure it will happen. But in between, we need to build that part at the moment.
I love it. And I love even how you spoke of it is that you know.
Yes, I know. Sometimes it's a problem, but yes.
Really beautiful. Yes, Shelley.
I just wanted to add, just listening to all of that Banu is amazing. And I realized this most recently. I'm just with having this awareness. My husband has the 4323 as well, and he has almost all the full penta skills himself. So he's been able to get the idea and go do the doing and drag a bunch of people along with him. And he has the opposite problem. He would overdo and then all of a sudden have created this huge monster that he couldn't keep up with. So I've seen the opposite happen as well. And we've both sort of pared down and relaxed, and just being able to teach him about his design as well, and literally helping him hold himself back a bit, because he said it's harder for me to not do the doing than to go actually build the business. And so he's got that, it's been challenging, but he's actually more comfortable and used to it now, realizing that he can create a business that's sustainable and doesn't burn him out. And that's working really well. And one of the things I've really learned in that process of working with him and really understanding his design, and it's one of the things we've enjoyed doing together, is I've often provided the support and management skills to manage the business as he's creating them. And what I've really recognized is when we don't have the 4323, it can be a bit of a shadow too. And I know growing up in my family, I kind of felt like, how come I have all these really smart people with genius ideas around me? I feel kind of dumb. And so I would try harder to have genius insights myself. and I have a different thing going on. I've got the 4 multiple times. So I come up with solutions all the time. And they can be pretty good as well, but they're not the same as that inner knowing. And so what I've really recognized was I learned how to recognize that I was trying too hard to be the genius and let go of that, and really listen, really pay attention when someone with that strength has a genius idea, because it can be challenging for them to actually share it. They're afraid. And so now I spend a lot more time listening and asking, probing, asking questions. It sounds like you have something you want to share, and help them actually just say whatever it is. It might sound silly to start with, but there's always a nugget in it. And by allowing people to say what's coming through, even though it's confusing at first and it might not make sense, that really, I think, supports people in being able to get their genius ideas out. And so that's been working really well. And I'm noticing that more and more, that even with little things of efficiency, I'll tell my husband the issue we're having with something, and then I just am quiet, and he all of a sudden goes, "Oh, we should do this." And I go, "That's brilliant." So honoring and recognizing people when they have those genius moments makes them flow more easily for them as well. And I think it's really important that we encourage them, because we need those genius ideas.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Shelley. And yes, Natalie.
Yeah, I echo what Shelley says. This is exactly what happened with my partner. And also, he has been sharing in the past where people didn't understand, right? And he's shut down to go out into public with his ideas. And when we met, and when we started to have more deeper conversations, once he had to trust that I would actually be open to it, and just wait and or ask questions, or exactly as Shelley says, now I can be the sounding board that he needs to get to formalize, to get to words, or to make it easier to understand for other people, kind of the test person, right? And I see him grow into it, and also sharing with me, because this was really funny when Banu shared that you need a team. He sees in me the team all the time, like, we could do this, we can organize this, and then he looks at me like, go. I'm like, yeah, we could. But that is really true. It really, and also since it is a projected strength, a lot of advisors have this strength, right? Or could be, and then us builders have the energy to make it happen. It is really the interaction, right? And then once I go into when something really hits me, then whoop, then it's there all of a sudden. So yeah, we have loads of ideas that are going to be in fruition, but it's such an interesting chemistry, right? What Shelley also experiences. So I love what you shared, to really give space for, hold space for it, so that they can formulate and come to and I'm really looking forward to actually realizing some of the stuff, making it happen, and then see how it operates with him, making it more efficient, like what Banu shared, right? That he knows, but he talks a lot about, I know, he just knows. And when he says that, I said, well, okay, you're right. I mean, yeah, it's really cool.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Natalie. And we'll go to Banu, and then we'll go to Chris.
I also wanted to share another example. Me managing my team and having these ideas. I think the moment, because I'm a manager and my team already trusted me, I would say I was already recognized, right? So if I had any ideas around how we manage the channel, or here's a promo we're going to run, or we're going to do things whole differently, and we're going to hit 25% more than our target type of ideas, the team got used to my ideas after a while, and they started believing that they could deliver on them. So that was the great part. Yeah, because in the beginning, we had an intact team, my last team, for around four years. So in the beginning, they would push back, like, there's no way we could do that. I'm like, okay, these 3 partners, we're going to take them, we're going to put them into this program, and then that's going to double their revenues this way. Or, you're not going to manage this person is going to manage this, and then it's going to work out. And they're like, that can't happen. That partner is never going to say yes to that. There's no way we can generate another $1 million of revenue on that. They would push back. But then they realized, if we put our hearts in it and be seeing it, they could really do it. So after a while, they start saying, there's no way we can do that. Oh, we did it the last time. Okay, we'll try. So at least they tried. And then, we realized so much building on those. So I think from experience as well, people learn that it can be done. All those things you're seeing light years ahead. And it's really helped us as a team, I think, learning to work it that way.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Banu. And yes, Chris.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of comment on what I'm hearing as a thread through this. I love the conversation we're having today. And, as I think about the fear of rejection and just how personal this can be, because this is an individual circuit, it can be taken personally. And one of the things I was remembering is that Ross said that if you are speaking at the wrong time, or you're speaking with the wrong people, it can really shut you down. And I've witnessed this with an advisor that I know and have been working with, and she's really young. So I just wanted to kind of say that, the insights that you have are not normal insights. They're non-normalizing. And it can feel very isolating. It can be very seclusive. And I think what you're hearing on the call today is really wonderful, because there's these great, rich expressions of people standing in their power. But for the people who may be listening to this that actually don't have that voice, or can't really actually have somebody who will listen to them, and they've been shut down time and time again, I think it's really important to find somebody who can support you and listen to your ideas and not judge you for them. And just know that you're not crazy for speaking these ideas that are ahead of their time, and that, your voice is really, really needed. And if you have the 43, I don't, just give yourself space. And if you know somebody who has it, just like Shelley was saying, be curious, invite them to share. I see Karen week after week do her presentations in class. She's amazing to be able to synthesize and come up with like her ideas and the little nuances that she adds in her class. So I just say use that as a role model. So I just wanted to put that out there for people who don't have that voice or they have been shut down.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully said, Chris. And again, both what you said, Chris, and what you said, Shelley, about especially if you don't have it, you may either envy those that do and try to be like they are, like you said, Shelley, or if you just create the space, as both of you said, for people to have these weird, crazy breakthrough ideas and creating the space that it is something that we're bringing forth, especially if you have trait 43. It is something that can be a breakthrough idea that is outside the box, that people don't normally follow, that can potentially be rejected, and it can potentially shut you down. But especially as we move into the age of the individual, those ideas are gold. Those ideas are genius. Those ideas are really necessary as we navigate through these crazy shifting times and trying to figure out how can we navigate and how can we do things in a new and different way that's never been done before, because that's what's really going to be called forth as we move into this new era. Wow. Beautiful. Well, amazing conversation. And if you want to continue the conversation, I encourage you to continue the conversation in the chat, whether you are listening on Facebook or whether you are on YouTube as well. We would love to continue the conversation. The more that you share, especially if you have trait 43, or if you know people that have trait 43, or if they have the strength of efficiency, which is the 43-23, it is through sharing and through communicating that we learn deeper nuances of what these strengths are all about. And this is a strength of empowerment. And the more that you share, especially if you have trait 43, or if you have the strength of efficiency, the more that you can really be a role model, as Chris said, for what these traits and what these strengths are all about, the more that you naturally empower others as well. And that's really part of this new era that we're moving into, is really how can we empower each other as individuals to really own our freakishness, to really own our unique insights, and move things forward in a beautiful and unique and individual way. Amazing conversation. Thank you all so very much. And again, thanks to our panel. If you do want to learn more, if you want to dive deeper in, we do have the foundation courses that are coming up. And yes, Natalie, you have your foundation course that's coming up here shortly.
Yeah, it says 14, but I moved it 1 week. So we're starting on the 21st, which is the free class for all the Dutch people in the world.
Yes. Yeah. So if you speak Dutch and you want to take the foundation course, Natalie's foundation course starts next week, and you can attend the first class free. If you speak English and you want to dive into the foundation course, I'll be teaching the foundation course in January. And Boris is also going to assist me as well, so he'll be there also. So invite you to join us for the foundation course. This is a way to really dive into this information in a deeper way. And if you are curious, we also have strategy sessions. You can have a strategy session with any one of our instructors. So encourage you to go to the services on the BG5 Business Institute website, go to services, and you can sign up for a strategy session. So that wraps up our week of breakthrough insights and taking a look at efficiency. Next week, we're going to take a look at trait 14. Trait 14 is the power skills to make a contribution. So that is what we are going to be taking a look at next week. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been an amazing session, an amazing conversation. And again, encourage you to continue the conversations in the comments, both on Facebook and on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for being here. And again, if you want to join us live in our Zoom room, we open up the opportunity and the possibility for you also to share your unique insights, to share your experience in having those traits. So especially if you do have trait 14, or if you have the strength of direction, which is the 14-2. Love to have you here next week and have you share about trait 14 next week. So great to have each and every one of you here. And for all of us on our panel, if everyone here in the Zoom room, if you want to turn on your camera, please feel free to turn on your camera, and we're going to say a quick hello and a quick goodbye. And thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you.
And if you don't want to turn on your camera, turn on your microphone so we can hear you say goodbye.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So yes, unmute yourself so we can all say goodbye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Lovely.